Okay. Maybe I should not touch the mic. Or maybe I should. Hang on, let me just bring it up a little. Okay. The lady that I'm staring at the help desk, when she gave me the key for the room, I don't remember what she said, but my response was going to be thanks, you too. Um, but like, not like a have a nice day, thanks, you too. Like a you're not doing this thing, but seriously, thanks, you too. Like an enjoy your food or enjoy your movie style of thanks, you too. Um, and yeah, I thought that was funny. Anyways, welcome to the next podcast episode. I have no idea. Episode 6. If you don't know, I'm Nick, and this is my podcast. Yeah, we have a I feel like we have a good amount of stuff to talk about. Let me actually lower the mic. Please don't explode. Okay. Um, I actually feel like there's a bit to talk about. Um, well, I feel like let's start with my Survivor recap. Now, this will cap off a trilogy of episodes where I mention Australian Survivor. This will be my last episode where I mention the current episode of Australian Survivor. The current one that I'm watching. The current episode, Titans vs. Rebels, actually just ended, but the previous episode, Heroes vs. Villains, Will Neff, one of my favorite streamers, was watching it along with chat, and I'm part of chat, and I watched every episode, and it was fire. Although I think it was a very good season, but I didn't like the ending to the season. I think the last thing I mentioned in the previous episode with Survivor was Sam's elimination, where Nina and Sean didn't use their idols on Sam after Haley had warned them to use them on Sam, and after Simon had flipped against George. Simon was outed as a traitor. Simon was outed as a traitor. Sam got sent home, and Nina and Sean wasted the idols. Real darkest timeline shit, and really, it kind of just went all downhill from there. I mean, there was a fucking marvelous twist. Not really a twist, but George, his closest ally Nina, and her friend Liz, they were part of a group of people called the Spice Girls, an alliance, and I think I did mention this also last time, but what I didn't mention is that prior to forming the Spice Girls, Liz and Shawnee, did I say Nina? Liz and Shawnee, the other two members of the Spice Girls, formed a duo, little pinky promise. They became besties, called the Shiz, and they brought up the Shiz during during chilling at camp. And George heard this, and he was like, "What the fuck's the Shiz?" And George flipped out. He didn't like flip out in front of them, but basically he just fucking assassinated Shawnee, blindsided her, sent her home, and then later, when voting to kick somebody off the jury, he blindsided her again. Although not really. Jerry and Matt wanted her gone anyways, but Shawnee got kicked off the jury. Absolutely mental, but that was insane. But after that, Sean went home. Fucking brutal. He was a dark horse. Wasn't to be. For some reason, Haley played really weird in the season. She had won the season before this one. She won Brains versus Brawn against George, and she blindsided Sean for some reason. So Sean got eliminated, and then Haley got eliminated because after she blindsided Sean, George was like, well, Haley, you kind of didn't do what I wanted you to do, so I think I'm gonna send you home. Uh, but I love you. We're good friends, and they are good friends apparently, which is actually kind of nice. But yeah, so that happened, and then like at that point, like Haley's gone. It's just it's at this point it's Liz, George, Matt, Jerry. Did I say Matt and Sean? I don't know if I mentioned Jerry. Jerry, and then Nina and Simon. So the final six. And Simon had this epic moment. Simon was pretty much fucked. Cause he was, unless he won every challenge, he probably wasn't going to make it to the final. And even if he did, he would need to be able to take George out because George would have won against pretty much anybody in the final tribal, just because he played so magnificently. So Simon ends up what he basically does is he metaphorically of course, he pretty much took his balls out and just wiped it on everybody's foreheads. He was like, "So guys, when are you gonna stop riding George's coattails, and when are you gonna stop playing for yourselves? Because right now you're really just his pawns." And he just fucking went after them. And the thing is, at no point when he's just fucking dragging these people does he ever lie. Everything he said was true, and even they knew it. It cut to Matt fucking crying because he was like, "You know what it's like to be called a pawn, and for you to think they're right." And basically, he did jack shit after that. He said, "Oh, I was thinking about blindsiding George." That'll come in handy later, but pretty much, Simon was fucking dead man walking, and he was like, "Well, I'm fucking going home with my pride because I didn't do that last time." He also won the truck. He won the car, so he already like was fucked because the car curse. So he just fucking went. He just had his fucking cock out. And that's gonna be me in this episode with the podcast because if you haven't noticed, I am once again joined by nobody. It's just me and this empty stool. Dude, fucking Jan isn't even here. Actually, no, Jan's here, but Jan's just kind of big chilling. And I'm kind of done doing the like, "Oh, my guest isn't a real guest" bit. So Jan, no. Okay, Jan just took a tumble. I'm gonna check on Jan real quick. Hang on. Okay, so the good news is Jan's all right. I did want to mention real quick. I am gonna get back to my Survivor recap in a bit, but I do want to bring up that O.J. Simpson died. So I feel like if you guys listening to this wouldn't mind, I would just very quickly like to offer a quick moment of silence for Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, who O.J. Simpson fucking murdered. Thank you. Okay. Ha. That bro's chilling in hell now, isn't he? I've seen so many memes about him just straight up vibing in hell. It's like, oh damn, poor guy. He never found out or murdered his wife. But yeah. So that happened. Back to Survivor. Simon was a confident man. He knew he probably wasn't going to win, but he was like, I'm going home, with my balls hanging out, And unfortunately, that did come to pass. He was asked again about the whole pawn thing, and he went, "Yeah, George is a really good player, and part of why he's so good is he's been able to surround himself with these guys who will listen to him. They won't think for themselves, and they'll play his game. And because he's gotten them to play his game, I think he's been tremendous, and he's maybe one of the greatest players of all time." So he gassed up George. Rightfully so. George is him. But because he did this, pretty much everybody got offended. The original plan heading into that tribal was to maybe blindside George, but because he shit talked the guys calling them pawns, once again, a true statement, they got butthurt and they voted him out. And so, with that, Simon got eliminated. And then Nina got eliminated shortly after because she was a straggler. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, at this point, George has to win because Nina, Matt, and Jerry don't deserve it. Not Nina, Liz. See? They're fucking NPCs, man. Liz, Matt, Jerry don't deserve to win. George should win, but, they know that George will win if they go to the final tribal. So they're like, we have to get him out before the final tribal. And so, they head into the final challenge. Before this, Shawnee, as I mentioned, gets voted out of the tribal or the jury. So now it's the final. It's the final four. It's going to be a 3-person final. The final is determined by the vote of the jury. The jury consists of Flick, who I don't think I mentioned. She was the first one, who eliminated. And then I believe it went Sam, Sean. Oh, no, Sam, Shawnee. Shawnee got removed, though. And then Sean, Haley, Simon. And then, who am I missing? Ooh, who am I missing? Because it's not supposed to be 6. It was 7 people, I believe. Let's see. Flick, Sam, Sean, Haley, Simon. Oh, Nina, and then the other person who I will mention. They were the person eliminated after this episode. So George, very phenomenal, strategical, and he's very, strategically speaking, he's one of the best players, and socially, he's stepped up his game so goddamn much. He's having the season of all time, and, he has to win at this point, right? Well, not quite, because he's not very good at challenges. But he has a chance. But because Liz didn't get eliminated, she would have been eliminated in the previous episode, but because they made the voting out a jury member, it wasn't looking too good for everybody. Because if Liz makes to the final, she, by the way, I didn't mention this, actually. My bad. Quick info. Jerry is an old man. George is also kind of an old man. He's also not that physically imposing. Matt is a lifeguard. He actually has some physical to him. And then there's Liz, who is a former Olympian for pole vaulting. So Liz is an actual athlete. So she has the advantage. She's also small. And so the final challenge, pretty much they got crucified. And they had, spikes, poking into their back. They weren't real spikes, but they were, blunted spikes, so they were, pushing them. And they weren't allowed to, let go of the cross they were on. And so Liz ended up winning, because of course she did. And then Jerry's like, hey, guys, if you want, you can vote me out. And, well, they didn't do that. George was like, yes, we'll vote you out, bro. And Matt's like, I think we should vote out George because I want to win. And Liz is like, I want to get my revenge on George. And Jerry's like, I don't care. And so Jerry ended up, I'm pretty sure all 3 of them ended up voting for George. And George, for how well he played, didn't, anticipate for this. So he ends up getting eliminated. And at this point, it's a final 3, but none of them deserve to win. And it's like, fuck, man. Fuck. And so, well, I'm not going to bore you with the additional details. Pretty much, they get to tribal, and for a lot of that, they get to the final tribal, and for a lot of it, it's just the jury just fucking dismantling the finalists. Because, they were like, so what did you do this game? And George himself, who was in an alliance with Jerry and Matt, goes, so, what did you guys do this game that I didn't tell you to do? That is a bad George impression, but yeah, they were fucking. There was nothing. There was nothing, and they got swept by Liz because she's a woman, and I think she was just more of a vibe than Matt. She was less bad than Matt and Jerry. So she swept them and she won the season, and it was mid because, yeah, she swept them, but had anybody else in that jury made it to the final tribal, they just would have straight up won. So, it was rough. But I'm currently waiting to. I want to watch the next season, but I really want to wait until a Wild versus Titans versus Rebels because I found out who won, and I don't know what they look like, but I still remember their name. And so I want to wait until I forget what their name is until I can watch the season. That way I can, watch the season not already knowing who won. I mean, and the same thing happened with Heroes vs. Villains. I swear I saw who won Heroes vs. Villains, but I didn't, think of it. So because I didn't know who won, I was, 'cause I saw who won, but I didn't remember. So I was able to just watch the season unbothered. And that's what I want to do for Titans vs. Rebels. But moving on from, Australian Survivor Entertainment, Australian Survivor is pretty dope, but the other thing I wanted to bring up was before I get into my little theater portion of this, I did want to bring up some wrestling. For those of you who don't know, I'm a massive wrestling fan, and 1 week ago was WrestleMania 40, night 1, and then the day after was night 2, and what a WrestleMania! So good. So good. Bayley beating Io, winning the title, winning the Women's WWE Championship. Phenomenal. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in night 1. Great. Very good. Very good. Let's see, what else happened? The Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Logan Paul. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Logan Paul is the United States champion in WWE. What a world we live in. That was fire. Oh, Speed got fucking RKO'd by Randy Orton. That was epic. There was this meme. Nobody likes Speed, or nobody likes Speed's fans. I'm sure Speed is actually a nice guy when you get to know him in real life. Speed made a post being like, damn, wrestling fucking hurts. And some guy commented, bro's acting like he got RKO'd by Randy Orton. And it's funny. Oh, also, before he RKO'd him, Randy Orton barked at him because Speed barked at him earlier. And if that's not funny, then comedy is dead. So that happened. Oh, and to top it all off, Cody Rhodes finished the story. He beat Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. He overcame the odds. He had help from John Cena. He had help from The Undertaker for some reason. And, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and I'm happy to have seen him finally achieve the big one. And also Tama Tonga debuted yesterday on SmackDown. I'm recording this on Saturday, which I already said, but I'm gonna try and have this out on Sunday. But yeah, one more thing I did want to, or the next thing I wanted to bring up with wrestling is oh my fucking god, what is going on with AEW? Once again, for those of you who don't know, most people who aren't wrestling fans will at least know what the WWE is. I don't think most people will know what AEW is, All Elite Wrestling. It is like in the United States the second biggest like promotion. They are on what, TBS, something like that. They're there. They're here. They have very talented wrestlers, and they are, for a good while they function as an alternative place for WWE, and a lot of WWE sentiment that, like, oh no, like, if you're going there, you just don't want to be in the big leagues. I think you can go fuck yourself with that, because, like, Vince McMahon's in charge. If he doesn't think you're such good shit, then, like, he won't fucking book you. He'll treat you like ass. Isaiah Swerve Scott, who was on the run of who was on an absolute fucking run in WWE with his stable Hit Row, went to the main roster, had one of his stable members released. She was just gone, never explained. And then his other stable member, his strong guy stable member, got in some heat, was planned to be fired, and because he was a big man, was the leader of that faction, all of them got fired, including Swerve, who was redefining his career at that point. And I think if you're me watching wrestling passionately, that just fucking blows. But the thing is, we do not live in a world anymore where Vince McMahon is, number one, taken, viewed with respect, and also is not in charge of WWE Creative, and beyond that, is no longer associated with WWE. And I'm really happy to be in that world now. Because Triple H is cooking, as I just said, and he is making WWE, palatable again. He is, he's the guy. He is the guy. So, at that same time as he's kind of coming to his own, and as we've seen WWE, grow, succeed, we've seen a much different story with AEW from when they kind of maybe like 2 years ago to now. They signed CM Punk. Big signing. CM Punk had some backstage issues that led to a backstage brawl with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, now infamously known as Brawl Out. Prior to that, he went absolutely nuclear during a press conference following All Out, the pay-per-view, where he just shat on Hangman Page and pretty much called the company a joke, called the executives spineless, and he got into a lot of trouble, got into a fight, got suspended. He also got injured. He came back, They tried to keep him, like, away from, like, everybody, and that ended up not working out. He got into an altercation with Jack Perry, also known as Jungle Boy. CM Punk did discuss this on an interview with Ariel Helwani, what do you call that? Wrestling, like, news guy, reporter. And he explained what ended up happening between him and Jungle Boy. What ended up happening was at All In, not All Out, All In London, he got into a brawl. And he went, I beat his ass, pretty much. And, he said, hey, I thought what I was doing was right. But, ultimately, I was at the end of the day, I was like, fuck this, I'm done with this company. And he was ready to just leave. He got convinced to, continue on with his match, did his match, and was shortly after let go from the company. He then, what is that? A couple months later, he would sign with WWE, where he is now. Where, to date, he has had zero issues backstage. Many wrestlers have said they love working with him, and AJ Styles himself said he went, I thought he was going to be a problem, but I kind of realized that I was wrong. So, ooh. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm having trouble with my audio. I think it's fine. And Jungle Boy was also, he's still under contract with WWE, not WWE, AEW, but he has pretty much been exiled. And he's making a character out of it, out of being the scapegoat. But in reality, like, Seth Rollins has very, publicly put out a disdain, expresses disdain for Punk, and they have gotten into zero altercations. So, I feel like it's clear to see who the issue might have been. But because CM Punk brought up that he kicked Jungle Boy's ass at All Out, Tony Khan is the head booker for AEW. He's also the owner of the company. He's also the son of, I don't know his name, but he is a millionaire's son. His father owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Tony Khan has, shortly after this, he books a segment. This segment occurred on Wednesday, this week, where just straight up, he released the footage of CM Punk smacking Jungle Boy in the face, putting him in a headlock, and then the fight being broken up and him walking away, like CM Punk said. And this was used in the segment to promote a match between the Young Bucks, who were not involved in this situation, and FTR, also not involved in the situation. So this random-ass video, very controversial video, and, at this point, I think I would have beat the shit out of Jungle Boy, too. This happens to book something unrelated. And it's just, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you, what's the point here? Oh, God. Okay. Listen, my headphones are fucking being janky, so I'm gonna pause the recording. I'll be back. This cut will be seamless, but I'm just gonna go back and listen and see if we're sounding good. Okay, well, the bad news is that we were getting a little bit of, but there's not really much we can do about that. But yeah, and also on that same show of AEW, Will Ospreay, arguably the best wrestler in the world, or apparently Triple H, he didn't actually bring up Will Ospreay's name. He brought up the idea of, not, basically if you don't want to come to WWE, you're kind of afraid of the grind, as he referred to it, and that's true. WWE has a absolutely brutal touring schedule. And, also, I don't know if this is still the case, wrestlers don't get insurance. If they're injured, that comes out of their pocket. Hotel room comes out of their pocket. But you still own their name, moveset, names, themes. but they are independent contractors, which is bullshit, which is absolute fucking bullshit. But, you know, sorry. But I don't know if that's still like an issue. Maybe it is. But yeah, that sounds rough. And if you're going to be working with WWE, you have to be prepared for that. And Triple H pretty much said, if you're not prepared for that, you're not prepared for that. And so Will Ospreay, apparently, now there's conflicting reports. Apparently, Will Ospreay wanted to do this on his own, but also apparently it was Creative's idea for him to cut this promo. He pretty much went, "I'm not afraid of the grind." By the way, Will Ospreay's British. "I'm not afraid of the grind. I fly to here from London every day, every week. I do the work, and to say that I'm afraid of the grind is bad, and especially coming from somebody who was grinding on the boss's daughter." So that is a reference to Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of a person who I don't really want to talk about anymore. She's married to Triple H. And it's like, the whole, "oh, hey, you're married to Stephanie McMahon" thing, that shit's old. And so, I think this, like, kind of pettiness towards WWE is not healthy for AEW. And not only is it not healthy because it paints them in a bad light, it also makes them look insecure. And beyond that, it really takes away the spotlight from what they're actually doing, which is pretty fucking good wrestling. Samoa Joe is your current champion at 30-something years old, still being the absolute monster that he is. Isaiah Swerve Scott, now just called Swerve Strickland, although I think I called him Swerve Strickland earlier. Swerve Strickland, who I mentioned earlier, got fired by WWE for fucking no reason, is also doing the work of his life, and he is potentially closing in on becoming the new world champion, but that is not what people care about. They care about this fucking drama, and they're making this drama. If you stop making that drama and you focus on your actual product, people will focus on your product. People will focus on your stars. Jon Moxley just became IWGP Heavyweight Champion. That's fucking great. But the thing is, people are going to be talking about how, hey, fuck Jungle Boy, fuck Tony Khan. Why did the Bucks do this segment? This segment was bad. You look bad. This company's bad. And, that stuff that they're doing is bad, but the company itself is not bad. They're just making themselves look bad. And I think they should cut out with that. Now, of course, they're not listening to my opinion. This is just my take. And, of course, some of you watching this, maybe my discussion about wrestling isn't your cup of tea. And because of that, I will move on, because there's something else I want to talk about. I think this is going to be my bit more, like, spicy content, because this pretty much this other half of the podcast is just going to be my theater content. Number one, I've added somebody to the collection. I don't really follow a lot of my peers here at Boise State, my theater peers here at Boise State, that is, although I don't follow any of my other peers anyways. So I got a collection of those who actually do follow me on the gram, and I added a guy. We're working the fly rail for the show that we're working on, as I mentioned, last episode, Sound of Music, which is actually that's why I'm, for those of you wondering why I didn't stream on Saturday, this is coming out on Sunday, fucking hopefully, please, for the love of God, let this come out on goddamn Sunday. Saturday, today, I did not and will not stream on Twitch, because, BatteryKid/Twitch.tv, because I'm working the rail. I'm pulling ropes to bring set pieces in, and pulling ropes the other way to bring set pieces out. It's it, you know, it ain't much, but it's honest work. Um, sorry. Oh God. Um, so I I've been watching this play, The Sound of Music, musical Sound of Music. I mean, I have a question. Are all musicals plays, or is all of theater like production just a play? Like, is a script reading also a play, and is a musical like it's all plays, right? Like a play is just a play, but a musical can be a play. A musical is a play, but not all plays are musicals, right? That's that's how it works. I don't know. Anyways, so as you guys maybe know, I don't. Apparently, uh, oh wow, I fucking shouted at you. It looks like. Apparently, my review of Wolf Girl is the most listened to episode at like 17. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. So I figured I'd do it again. And well, I mean, I already was going to do it again, but we're doing another play review. I also reviewed Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, really good. And I'm going to give my review of The Sound of Music. Now, the difference between Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Wolf Girl, and this is that I got to watch Sound of Music pretty much a couple of different times already, because I've been running the rails for this show since Monday. Um, and so I've gotten a chance to listen to, them perform, them act the scenes, and I got to watch a full ass production, the full ass play. Admittedly, not from the seating, but from the backstage. Got to watch it twice in a row. Yesterday on opening night, and Thursday during our full run through rehearsal. I will be working the show again tonight. This won't be coming out by the time you are listening to this. Like, by the time you listen to it, I will already have done. Fucking Christ. By the time you are listening to this podcast of the episode, Jesus fuck. Okay. By the time you finish listening to the episode of this podcast, this is why I need a second person. I will already have worked that show and probably have already finished the Sunday show. Although maybe not. Although maybe at that point it's too late to buy a ticket. But if you listen to the previous episode, I hope I see you at the show. Although I won't see you at the show, but I hope you see the show and I hope you enjoy it. And if you're not watching the show, well, let me tell you how it is. And really quickly, I was thinking about this fucking all day leading in all of yesterday heading into recording this episode. I don't know if I said this when I gave my Wolf Girl review. I don't know if my Wolf Girl review was received well. If it wasn't, I believe I did mention that, like, if you are mad that what I've said in this review, I just want you to know that I've already gone to go fuck myself. But, that's just me being snarky, But genuinely, I've been I've been associated with the theater since 2019. Technically 2018, because that's when I first started taking theater classes in high school, my freshman year. But I've been in plays since 2019. King John was my first. So I know that theater isn't easy, Like, as I've continued to progress, I've garnered more of a appreciation for how, like, truly, like, challenging of theater is. And especially more appreciation for Stevenson, because, like, he's kind of the GOAT. Love to have him on this podcast. Probably never will, but you never know. So I just want to say, before I give this review, to anybody who watched or who was in Sound of Music or worked on Sound of Music. God damn it, the audio thing's back. Okay, I think I fixed it. Bravo. You guys fucking did it. I helped. But I'm just a cog in a machine. I'm not like a major player at this point. I hope to be one day when I finally end my hiatus of acting, hopefully in the fall. I hope that I can be one of the guys on stage. But for the time being, I just help, and I am part of a greater accumulation of people, and to those people, you guys did it. Like, being there for opening night. There are kids in this show. They play kids, and like I saw them across the stage on the other side. They were jumping up like, yeah, and it made me so happy. It made me so fucking happy, and I was like, fuck, I do miss this. I do want to come back. I do want to come back, and I really do love theater. I really do. And it warmed my heart. It warmed my heart. One of the assistant stage managers, they were crying following the show, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is so goddamn wholesome. And I was so happy. I was so happy. And I was so happy I was happy with these people being happy. And usually when people are happy, like, I'm not like, oh, you're happy, fuck you. But it's like, you're happy, and part of your happiness, was my misery. And you know what? Honestly, my misery was worth it for you. Even if you don't think so, I think so. Shit, I hit the mic. Sorry. But yeah. So with that out of the way, let's get into how the show went. As I said with my review of Wolf Girl, I said, once again, as I wanted to say, that took work. That took work. Getting the lights set up, that took work. Getting the lights programmed, that took work. Getting the set built, that took work. Getting the set put in, that took work. I should know. I was working on that. Building the set, that took work. I don't know if I already said building the set, that took work. Memorizing fucking lines takes work. And that's that's the easiest part about acting. Talking is the easiest part about acting. The second hardest thing about acting is acting, and then after that, it's just, whatever, not being a fucking shit stain at that point. So like, it just takes a lot. And, personally, Wolf Girl, not my cup of tea. I'm not a big furry show guy, I say that respectfully with peace and love. And I'm also not a big musicals guy. I kind of am. I watched Hadestown a while back. I watched Sweeney Todd a while back. But, like, Sound of Music is not that, But goddamn, I fucking loved this show. It was so good. Like, genuinely, I have no criticisms. Like, nothing, in my opinion, like, came off as bad. Maybe the Nazi stuff made me cringe, but that's the point, Like, I think, like I said, Wolf Girl, not my cup of tea. And I think, hearing what other people have to say about Wolf Girl, when I made that review, I was trying to be as generous as possible. And that was before finally, I had already heard that people hated it. I mean, just go watch that goddamn episode. I don't have to repeat myself. Come on, watch my goddamn content, you frauds. Yeah, it was a very good show. Very good show. I don't have the cast list, but all the kids were great. The person playing Frederick, I think, he's fucking insane. He gave genuine, like, I don't want to say his name. The guy that played Frank in my the one musical I did, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. The guy that played Frank, one of the brothers, the guy playing Frederick gave that energy, like, not necessarily like they're not. You wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, that character. No, you're like, god damn, he's him. You know that they're the same like type of like person or type of like performance slash character where they're not like the main person, but like me, like for me, like it's like no, they 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 were kind of like they were kind of goated. Um, and yeah, so shouts out to that. I'm not gonna name the kid both because I don't know his name, but also he's just a kid. But for the other cast members, I will say their names. Morgan Kelly, who played Maria Rayner. She fucking ate and left no goddamn crumbs. So I have nothing but praise for her performance. The small child, I don't know the small child's name, but the small child, I think Gretel is the character's name. But the small child, she is fucking so small, like goddamn, like she is the size of that trash can I'm staring at. Um, she struggles to make it up the stairs. She's like, eh. Oh god, that maybe didn't sound best. She's like, there we go. I'll cut out those other. I'll bleep out those other noises because that sounded kind of secular, But I'm like, this is a good show. The guy playing Georg, as I call him, I'm just gonna call him George, because when I hear Georg, I think gay org, like a gay organization, and it's like, nah, let's call him. I'll refer to it as George. I'm not German, so I can call him George. He did great. Very Chad-like appearance. All the people playing Nazis did a good job at being Nazis. Like I genuinely was like, man, fuck these guys. In my head, every time I like see them, I do the Brad Pitt in Inglourious Basterds being like, hey, that's one of them Nazis right there. You a Nazi? Hey, look, it's a Nazi. I want my Nazi scalps. And I don't think this is a good impression, but it's like, I know the best eye talent out of all of us. And I'm just memeing that shit in my head. And it's like, man. And they're like talking about how like, oh, you want to be on the right, so you want to be on the winning side or the right cause. And I'm just like, nah, bro ain't ready. He ain't ready. Bro's gonna head into Russia thinking he's the fucking man. Gonna get humbled so goddamn quick that winter. But yeah, I can't hate this show, And I think I'm gonna add this to my show tier list because I was actually there working on it. Because like other shows, I've done stuff like I've done some set building, but this show, like I worked with this show, and I feel like that kind of counts for being part of a project. So I think I'm gonna count it, and maybe I won't give this S tier just because like while I didn't have truly fucking enjoyed it, it's not. I didn't really do much, Like I had it easy, And I feel like because of that, to like say that, oh yeah, the show is part of was S tier. It's like I wasn't that part of it. Like I was a small part, And I'm happy to have been part of that. The heck? Can you guys hear that? Huh, weird. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked by I was worried that the red mic was turned on. I don't think the red mic is turned on. It doesn't show that the red mic is turned on. But yeah, also, some guys talking about like the Third Reich or whatever, and somebody in the audience was like, boo! They were like, hang on, let me try that again. They were like, sorry. They were like, boo! And that made me laugh. So like, I don't really want to break down the plot, Pretty much, woman shows up, becomes like the live-in teacher for these kids, teaches them to sing. Father ain't down with that, tells them to go fuck themselves, realizes, oh, I was wrong, starts singing. The woman, he starts falling in love with the woman. She runs away back to her nunnery. She's a nun, by the way. Her nun's like, yo, go back. You love that man. She's like, I do. I do love him. And she goes back because she loves him. Plot twist, he's getting married. Plot twist, the woman he's marrying is like, hey, you don't want to be a Nazi, and I don't vibe with that, so we're not getting married. So he ends up marrying the woman, Maria, and they end up running away from the Nazis. Running away from the Nazis. And that pretty much sums up. That pretty much sums up the show. They go back to the nuns. One of the Nazi kids like becomes based for a brief second, and doesn't report. He doesn't report. He doesn't sell. He doesn't sell out his crush. Yeah, I think that's how it ends. Oh, and this pair of curtains comes in and comes out, and I think that's the best part of the show. Genuinely, like those curtains actually, like everything I said, like the curtains are actually the best. Those curtains are so goddamn good. I think whoever moved those curtains is honestly deserves a medal. But that's all I'll say about that. And yeah, also just working the show has been such a vibe. All the like fly rail crew guys, like the older gentlemen, they're so nice. They're so nice. They're so like interesting. I don't really want to talk about them. I will say this. One of them. I won't say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble. He plays Pokemon Go and used to take hard drugs. And has worked in almost every aspect of like the backstage like technical theater except for I believe costume making, I believe. Oh no, wig making, except for wig making. And it's like, damn. And he's like, hey, if I ever win the lottery, I want to make a big theater and only like touring companies can come in. But for the rest of the shows, I just want to do children's theater. And I was like, dude, this guy's the fucking best. And yeah. So I just this has been such a positive experience. And, like, don't get me wrong, respectfully to Miss Julie, like, as good as Miss Julie, like, personally, I think I did pretty good. I think when it eventually comes out, I'm going to go, this person did good. This person did good. This person backstage did good. This person did good. And I was there. And for this show, once again, I was there. But, I was there because that was the mission. My mission was to be there and, do my job. And I think I have done my job so far, at least. I don't really... I don't want to. I think I've done pretty good, and I'm happy with how I've done on this show. But with Miss Julie, I just wasn't in a good like headspace, Didn't really get along with the director that well, at least in my opinion. Work was fucking brutalizing me. So, I don't think I ever said this, but I am unemployed for those of you who don't know. Surprise! I got fired from my job like 5 months ago. But, I'm really happy to be in a spot where I'm not under so much stress. And I think in another world where I started working that job that I was working months before my freshman year began, and I would have been able to quit my job early and head into my sophomore year, with a clear schedule, clear space of mind, clear head of mind, clear state of mind. Maybe also with a driver's license in that parallel universe. And I did do Miss Julie. I think I would have enjoyed it, but, I think it wasn't to be. And for this to be that show, I'm happy. I wouldn't put it S tier, simply because, I don't know if I contributed enough for me to be truly happy about it, but I am happy about it. I'm not, like, infinitely happy. I'm just happy, I'm happy, and I'm just, I just feel grateful, And I hope when we finish this show, I will still feel grateful, and, yeah. I think that's pretty much my review. It's 10 out of 10. If you didn't watch it, um, you know, sucks, man. Feels bad. Really hope you could have watched it. But if you did watch it and you did enjoy it, and you are here listening to the podcast being like, yeah, this guy's fucking speaking facts. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, little bit of wholesome. I'm glad we're ending because I feel like was the last episode or the episode before that? I feel like I started freaking the fuck out. Like I was like, damn. Like listening back to it, I was like, am I okay? Um, but you know, yeah, it's such vibes. The people are nice. You know, my like teammate partner guy on the rails, he's chill. Production's chill. I mean, no, I feel like everything after like I truly admire everybody outside of the rails because like our one of the same assistant stage manager that I said was crying. They they were like, "Thank you guys for being the least like troublesome area," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." Um, okay, and also I don't even have episode 6 out. So like, what the fuck am I doing? Nah, it's all good. It's all good. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I just got out of a meeting with my supervisor for my advisor or supervisor. I just got done doing an evaluation for one of my classes. Went well. I'm gonna pass it. Said goodbye to the tech to the scenic theater guy, scenic designer, technical designer. I don't know what his title is, but I said goodbye to Nate. Which it's been a week of goodbyes. Had my final lab. Had my final visit to the scenic shop. Had my final English class. That was kind of emotional. And now here we are doing the final podcast episode. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how I did it. But I managed to record 8 podcast episodes. And if we're being technical, I only recorded 7. And one of them had a guest. And the others did not. Yeah, honestly, I probably could have gotten a guest. I could have gotten the homies, but I was too busy. I was too busy, and I forgot. I forgot that I was going to be recording this week, so which really kind of reiterates the fact of why am I here. But I am here. Jan is here with us. Here, let me get you cozy, Jan. Get you your mic. There we go. Jan is here. We love Jan. Jan's the best. It's a little bit of a nothing week, to be honest. In 1 week's time, I will be in New York City. So that's gonna be kind of crazy. My brother's gonna be watching a Leve concert. That's also kind of wild. And yeah, it's gonna be nice to go on a vacation after the school year. It it's been a really it's been a somber sophomore year. You know, uh, man, maybe that'll be the context of this episode. Just breaking down how my. You know what? No, that's what we'll do. Let's break down my year. Actually, maybe I should do a story time first, because I want to lighten the mood before I fucking rip us down into the fucking abyss of hell. Um, I watched my brother play Mario Kart on his stream, dot twitch.tv dot Marquito Live. If you're interested in checking out his channel, he doesn't record much, but he's pretty good. No, yeah, no, there's nothing really happened. I'm just trying to get dialed in, and I feel like I haven't quite gotten dialed in. I think I'll pass every class, but you know, it's got we're here. We're here in the final stretch. The final stretch of the final stretch, if we're being honest. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about what's to come next semester, and ooh, all right. Anyways, I just really busy. And you know what? I think it's time. I don't know if I've told this fully. I've told it in parts, but I don't think I've told it explicitly. I want to talk about my school year this year. We're going to start with, well, the part that I've kind of danced a bit around, and that is fall 2023 semester. So, oh man, how do we begin this? Well, to begin the school year, I mean, the school year just started, just as a school year. Still don't have a car, so I or a license, so gotta have a family member take me. Fuck me for that. But um, pretty much, um, I. Oh man, I think the first thing that happened in the semester was I auditioned for. Well, the first thing that happened was I started streaming again, so that's cool. That was really. I think that was a fucking great thing for me to do. But I also auditioned for our plays, Lost Girl and Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, I'll admit, straight up, I did not give a fuck about getting into Charlie Brown Christmas, but I included it because, there's a chance. There's a chance. And I made it to callbacks for Lost Girl, and I was like, I think I'll make it. I'll make the cut here. And then I think what happened was I found out that the callback would be in two parts, and I didn't make the second part of callbacks. And I think, well, that kind of fucked me because I couldn't go to that second callback. So I just had to do like, I maybe did like a total of like, I don't know, 5 minutes of script reading, and that was my callback, and wasn't to be. Which looking back at it, it did hurt. Usually when I don't get cast in something, like for McBee, I didn't get cast and I was like, God damn it. But like it didn't feel like I was at peace with it. And I think part of why is because I felt like watching the show, I felt like it was right for me to not be there. Is that an unfortunate thing to think? Yeah, but I mean, it is true. And then with Lost Girl, watching the performances, and this isn't to say that the performances were bad, they were just, they were on my level. I felt like I could have done that. And I think, personally, I don't think a specific way about that. Uh, if I can do something, that just means I can do it. If you think I'm shit, then that probably would mean that you also think those other people are shit. I don't think they're shit because that means I think I'm shit, and I don't think I'm bad. I think I'm okay. And you know what? Their performances were okay. And I feel like because of that, I feel like I was I could have gotten cast, but I feel like I just didn't have it in me to make it. So that was bad. But I just kind of continued with the semester. What I take? I took English, some other class, music, And yeah, and pretty much. Oh, I also had a job at this time. And yeah, it kind of just fell apart. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what happened. Everything went to shit. About, I think, after Thanksgiving break, because what happened was I did end up getting cast in the show. I did TMA's Miss Julie production. I was unprepared for how like demanding it would be. Uh, I feel like everybody was, to be honest. Um, but that really took a lot out of me, and I think I kind of low key regret doing that show. I have talked about this show in the past, and I feel like if had I not done it, I would have had a better semester because I kind of just I had decent grades, but I just kind of fell apart. I just fucking disintegrated in the second half of the semester. Yeah, I passed one class. It was a class I liked, so at least there's that. And a teacher I liked, so I didn't have to fucking retake the class and look her in the eye, knowing that I failed the first time. And for the rest of the classes, I can just not take classes with those professors. And so, I think that's kind of been it. Also got fired from my job. That fucking blows. Dislocated my jaw. That's rough. But I think this semester I've done a lot to correct it. Stuff at my former workplace that's kind of shit has hit the fan. A lot of people are leaving. Management's kind of being outed as not being that great. So at least there's that. I don't wish ill will on my former employers just because there were a lot of people who I like, but I feel like they didn't really look out for me, and I feel like they're being told that now, and I think that's kind of rad. Um, I like I said, I dislocated my jaw. I had quite the bill for that, and financial aid has uh, has made it so I don't pay anything, and not having a job has actually helped with that. So thanks. And also, I mean, really, only one of the classes I failed, I ended up taking. I did take an art class, but I was like, I don't think I'm gonna pass this, so I actually ended up dropping it, which is unfortunate. But I'm on course, hopefully, to pass English. And it's I got all my other classes that I'm on course to pass. I mean, just have to land the finishing blow. But I have faith in my abilities to land that, and I think that kind of pretty much sums up. Oh no, one more thing about the thing. I could have not done Miss Julie, and it kind of pisses me off thinking about that because like it's like why didn't I just not do it? I think it was my mentality of like I didn't want to abandon these guys, but pretty much I got an offer to like go to this like workshop to have a residency like downstate from where I am. I would have gotten paid and I would have been able to stay for free. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds cool. And I got suggested for that by the director for Lost Girls. So I had a shot, and the same week that I would have been arranging an interview was the same week that I got cast in Miss Julie. And I'm, uh, I'll admit it, I made the wrong choice because I think this semester would look very different had I opted to take the this to take that opportunity instead of Miss Julie. But it's whatever. I didn't, and here I am now, kind of on the course to redemption. Um, as a sophomore, it's unfortunate. I also didn't do any shows, which hurts, and just looking at how my next semester is gonna go, while I am looking forward to it, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be one that'll allow me to be able to perform in a show, just because of, I feel like the classes I'm taking are going to be a bit more demanding. There are a lot of theater focused classes, which is really exciting for me because I haven't gotten to do much of that. And, now that I'm going to be able to, I'm feeling pretty optimistic for what's to come. Um, oh shit, my recording thing is not on. I will be right back. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, so it's not looking too bad. Um, yeah, and that kind of, I think that kind of sums it up. I feel like I really summed it up terribly. I thought that would make for more content. I mean, when I dislocated my jaw, they had to, because I I want to actually bring attention to this. When somebody dislocates their jaw, it can fuck them up. And as an actor, that can really mess me up if I have issues with the thing that I move while I talk. So I think I think we should have doctors get good. You know, be better. Be better at relocating jaws, because I got turned down by two hospitals or two urgent cares before I got to the ER. Um, and the guy that treated me, he had no fucking clue what he was doing. He had to check his notes, which is baller. But also, they had to do a scan, which probably cost a lot, and the machine made me nauseous, and having my fucking joints out of place also had me already nauseous, so I ended up vomiting, which wasn't fun. And yeah, just a really, really cursed timeline, But I'm still here, and I think that's good. Um, I feel like I've kind of I think that it's been I think it's been a long journey. And yeah, so we're in finals week. Taking a little break from doing all my work and shit. Um, got an essay to finish by tomorrow. I think I'm allowed to turn it in a bit late, so I might end up doing that. I mean, it depends if I want to get a good night's sleep. I do want to make it to class, so probably just work on it as much as I can, and then ask for ask to turn it in later. So there's that. What else do I have to work on? I got some English stuff to work on. My English professor hasn't responded to me, so I think after I finish recording this, I'm gonna have to go check in, see what's the haps, because I needed to respond to some paper so I can do revisions for my final in that class. And what else? Just astronomy stuff. Got to make sure I pass that final exam. I think I'll pass it. I mean, I don't need to do exceptional. If I can get an 80, I think that'll put me up good. Um, and yeah, I think we'll be all right. We're only 20 minutes. I feel like I've just been kind of rambling on with. Oh no, we're not at 20 minutes. We're almost at 20 minutes. I feel like I've fucking said nothing. I mean, I think this is just gonna be a nothing burger episode. We're going out kind of sad. I don't know. I talked to people about the new popcorn bucket. As you guys know, Deadpool and Wolverine's coming out. Well, if you guys remember, a previous episode, in a previous episode, I mentioned my fucking god, what an image! I mentioned the Dune popcorn bucket, the Dune bucket, well, Deadpool and Wolverine saw that, and they went, we we can we can one up you, and so I mean, there's nobody here to view this, but you guys have heard of the We're Mushy, but are you guys prepared to receive some Headpool? Cause holy shit, yeah, you're oh boy. So yeah, I think we need more sexual popcorn buckets because they're funny. They're funny, and society deserves them. But I think speaking on speaking on other things that happened this week, I don't think anything. I mean, maybe something important happened this week, and I'm just out of the loop. But it's been a pretty mild couple of weeks. I still don't have the last episode out. I probably should get on that, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time. I think I'll just get it get it uploaded today, just because I don't think it'll take very long. I really just have to edit out like one portion, and that'll be it. But I think for this podcast episode, I'll probably just end it here. I would like to give out some shout outs and awards um, for the episodes, if you guys wouldn't mind. Um, you know how like at the end of like an elementary school year, they'll give like some certificates to some students and whatnot. Yeah. So here's the awards for this run of episodes. The award for best episode uh will actually go to episode 1. My first episode. My very real dog and I try making a podcast. It didn't go well. That is the highest viewing episode at 16, or I guess the highest downloaded episodes at 16, which is really impressive. People watched that and then it just kind of fell off, which is kind of wild because I do think that was the worst episode because of my recording issues. Speaking of recording issues, I think I got to give out the award to my favorite guest, or of favorite guest, to the man, the myth, the legend, the king of Fuck Mountain, uh, Hunter Glenn Wallace Carey Hannum. Two-time guest, technically one-time guest because I split the episode into two. But I think we had a really fun time. It was nice hanging out with him again. That was the last time I hung out with him. But I enjoyed I enjoyed doing the thing I wanted. One of the He was a person that I wanted to have on, and so I'm glad. If I was going to have at least one guest, I think Hunter would have been the guest. And yeah, so congratulations on winning that award, Hunter. You deserve it. The man, love you. Uh, Next award for latest episode. I'm interested in this one. This was the episode that was released the latest, and that would have been, and I do think I have these so fucked. Episode 0 was supposed to release on the 4th of February. It was released on the 7th. That is 3 days late. Episode 1 was supposed to release on the 18th, and it did release on the 18th. Episode 2 was supposed to release on the 3rd. And wouldn't you know it, it actually did release on the 3rd. Isn't that something? Now, episode 3 wasn't technically supposed to happen. Well, I mean, it was, but episode 2 was split into 2 parts. Episode 2 and episode 3. So technically, episode 3 will be left null. Episode 4, which released on the 29th, was supposed to release on the 17th. That's wild. Yeah, that's what happened is that's 12 days late. And now, what is that? Episode 4, which was supposed to release on the 31st, came out on the 4th, which isn't that late. So, the next episode, episode 5, which was supposed to come out on the 14th, it is currently the 25th, has not come out yet. And this episode will come out whenever the fuck I feel like it. I mean, I might just not upload it. I feel like it's been kind of boring. But hey, if I don't upload this episode, is the podcast really over? Just saying. Just saying. But yeah, so the award, well, technically is still up in the air. I'm just going to go ahead and give it to episode 5, which was supposed to come out on St. Patrick's Day. And yeah, so there we go. I think that's all the awards. There wasn't really any other awards to share, but congratulations to episode 1, episode 4, and Hunter for being goated. And shouts out to Lin Gao for being the guest on the most viewed episode. And shouts out to Jan for being the most recurring guest. We can run it back. We can run it back. Now, I don't want to give any promises because I don't know how likely it is that this podcast will have more episodes. Maybe an occasional episode, but I don't think it'll come back, at least in its current iteration. Just because, I did this podcast because I took a break from theater. And, I hope to end that, what's the word? Not sabbatical. That, hiatus. I hope to end that hiatus of acting for the next school year, so I can finally be in a show. I can finally, be that guy. And I don't know if I'm going to have time to continue the podcast. But hey, you know what? Let's not think about that. Let's not think about how after I hit end record, we only have 1 episode left. I don't want you to think about that. I want you to think about the good memories we've made. Watching me sit in a box, speak into a mic, lose my mind, talk to my backpack, talk to a dog, hang out with my friend Hunter one time in the year 2024, and probably the last time for the year, hopefully I see him again. I'll see him again. I'll definitely see him again. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Because, I have. I haven't, and if I do bring this podcast back, it'll be because I like doing it. And you know what? I think that means something. I think that means something. So, I guess what I want to say before we sign off is that if you like doing something and you can do it, and you want to do it, do it. It doesn't have to be like, if you pursue your hobbies, Because I did, and you know what? I don't regret it. I do not regret it at all. And maybe I failed horribly to get guests. And I already did talk about this. I did fail horribly to get guests. But I had a great time. And you know what? I want you guys to have a great time too. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing on the day that you're watching this, enjoy it. Enjoy your day. And if you're not enjoying your day, there's 365 of them in a year. Find your one. Or find at least your one. All right. I think that's a good place to end off. This was a wholesome episode. And I'm happy that that's how this episode turned out. Because you know what? It's rough being alone here, but for those of you who are still here after an hour and 10 minutes, thank you. I'm sorry, and take care. Goodbye.